guys, today we are going to be doing something that I feel like I haven't done in a while, and we're going to be testing out a new eyeshadow primer. Now, if you're not new to my channel, you know how important having a good eyeshadow primer is to me, because my main focus on my channel is obviously on eyeshadows. I don't know why I say obviously, because if you're new here, you didn't know that, but it's basically what I do on my channel. I review eyeshadows, and so I definitely want to make sure that I always have the best base possible to be able to make the most out of my eyeshadows. So my current favorite eyeshadow primer is the Smashbox Lid Primer in Light. I've been using this for quite some time, but my main issue with this is just that you don't get a lot of product in this, and it's quite expensive. So this one is $21, and you only get 2.5 grams, 2.5 mils of product, which is like nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So the one that I want to try today is the Nars eyeshadow primer. This one is called the Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. I got mine in the shade Light because I do like my eyeshadow primers to be light but not white, because I don't like them to be that much lighter than my skin tone, because I find it a little bit tricky to work with. So you get 8 grams or 8 milliliters of product in this. So I mean, it's like 4 times as much almost. That's insane. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to try this out. I've heard a lot of really good things about this primer. I've seen people use it, and people that I trust who really love this. So here's what the packaging looks like. So the white part here is kind of like a matte finish. Actually, the top part here is as well. It's very sleek looking. I really like the look of this, and I'm excited to try this out. And so let's open this up and see. So just straight off the bat, it does look quite light. So here's the applicator. It looks very similar to just a concealer. So let's just put a little bit on the back of my hand here so I can see. It definitely has some coverage to it, and it does seem to keep the coverage but sheer it out a little bit once you blend it out. And it just leaves a very smooth surface. So I really like the look of that. Let me just do that with the Smashbox one side by side so you can see what the difference is. So both of these are in the shade Light, and this one is definitely a lot darker than the Nars one, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and blend this out. So this one is a little bit sheer, it seems like, which is good because I do like to have coverage in my eyeshadow primer, and I just don't find that concealer works that well for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and apply my Nars primer on this eye, and I'm going to use my Smashbox primer on the other eye, just so we can kind of compare and see what happens when I start applying the shadows, because it's the best way for me to be able to see if the new eyeshadow primer that I'm testing out is better than the one that I'm currently using. So let's go ahead and just apply the Nars one on this side. So this definitely feels a lot thicker going on my eye than my Smashbox primer does. I'm just going to take a bit of a flat brush here to blend this out with. And it does seem like it shears out quite a bit on the eye, but it still leaves enough coverage. I feel like that if you had some staining, it would cover a little bit of it up, but I don't think it would cover all of it up. So it's definitely not like a super opaque primer, but it does have a little bit of coverage to it. Just quickly gonna go ahead and do the same with my Smashbox primer on the other eye. So I would say the opacity on the two is pretty similar, but the Nars primer is definitely a little bit lighter, which could be a good thing, especially when working with bright eyeshadows, which I normally do. So I think what I'm going to do today is I want to use my Kaleidos palette. This is the VR Neon palette, and I just kind of want to create a look that's going to go with my hair color, because I feel like all of these colors are just going to complement it very nicely because they're very bright and neon, which is, you know, my hair as well. So I think I'm going to kind of speed through me applying these. Unless I notice anything with the primers that are different, then I will stop and let you know, but it's not going to be a tutorial because the main focus on this video is obviously on the eyeshadow primer, and I don't feel like we need a 15-minute video on an eyeshadow primer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start applying these.
I feel my heart is going full speed, I can't control it, can't keep up with the rhythm of it all. Is this all an illusion? 'Cause I'm getting deluded, can't keep up with the rhythm.
So I would say my first impression upon first application here is that the Nars side looks a little bit more true to color. I feel like it's looking a little bit more just bright and pigmented on this side, which is probably because it's a little bit lighter than the Smashbox one, but I felt like the Smashbox primer, it grips onto color a little bit faster. I felt like I had to build it up a lot more on my Nars side, whereas this side, it went on very quickly. but it's a little bit harder to blend on the Smashbox primer than it is on the Nars primer. Like the Nars primer almost kind of just blends itself, whereas this one I feel like I have to work a lot harder to be able to get a bit of a blend because it just grips on the color a lot more, which I mean, none of those are really bad things. I feel like it looks really good on both sides, but also this eyeshadow is a really good eyeshadow, so maybe I should have tried it with something different. But I'm gonna go ahead and go into my next color here. I'm gonna use the orange and I'm going to use that to blend that out with.
I gotta figure it out right now, 'cause I know what you need. You want only the best and nothing but the best from me. I gotta figure it out right now, 'cause I know what you need. You want only the best and nothing but the best from me.
So I would say that my first impression still stands and that I feel like the Nars primer takes a little longer to build up, but I do feel like the colors are popping a little bit more on this side. I'm sure it's hard to see on camera because it's such a small difference, but when I look up close, I can definitely see like the opacity is a little bit brighter and better on this side, and also the colors are looking a little bit better, honestly. Like I feel like the blends are looking better, and I feel like on this side I've lost a little bit of the red here actually. So far I would say that I like the Nars primer a little bit more, and I feel like this eye just looks a little bit better. So I'm gonna go in with the same colors again, just on my lower lash line, but since I don't have any primer down there, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just gonna speed through that.
Need to get into motion just to find my devotion. Still I'm stuck in the middle of it all. And before all this is broken.
So let's see if it makes a difference on the lid or not. Obviously I do have some matte shadow on my lid, so we're gonna just layer it over the top and see what happens. So I'm gonna go in with the pink shade here, basically in the middle of my lid on both eyes. I am gonna go ahead and spray that with some Fix Plus because these glittery shadows do tend to have a little bit of fallout if you don't. So I'm not expecting it to make too much of a difference with the shimmer shadows, honestly, because I think that matte shadows are the ones that really need the help of a good eyeshadow primer, whereas shimmers can usually be good even just on their own without a primer. But isn't that color just so beautiful? Oh, I just love this.
Want you to be closer with me, stuck in the middle of it all. I gotta figure it out right now, 'cause I know what you need. You want only the best and nothing but the best.
I'm not really seeing a difference on either eye, to be honest. I feel like they're both looking pretty good, so I'm just gonna take this orange now in the first portion of my lid.
I gotta figure it out right now, 'cause I know what you need. You want only the best and nothing but the best from me.
I'm also going to take a little bit of that orange just in the inner portion of my lower lash line here. And just as like a last step, I'm going to go back into that first crease shade, the red, and just kind of run that through my crease to make sure that my shimmers are blended nicely, because I don't want this to look like a cut crease. But I feel like I don't really even need to intensify the color on the Nars primer side because it's already looking so nice and vibrant. So far I actually think that I like the Nars primer more than the Smashbox primer, which I never thought I would say, and it makes me really happy. So now I just hope that this is going to wear well the rest of the day, and I will probably do a wear test as well because I feel like I might as well. So I really like how this is looking. I think what I want to do is I want to be crazy and do like a green inner corner highlight. So I'm going to take the shadow here from Devinah. This one is called Martini, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in my inner corner. I'm also going to do something in my waterline, finish off with some liner or mascara, and then I'll come back and show you the look. Okay, so I'm back. I thought I would just kind of tell you what I did to finish off the look before we go into the wear test here. So I did pop some green in my waterline as well as my inner corner, and I used Electric Daisy from Colourpop. For my lips, I used the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Any Tangerine, which is just an orange, and then on top I used the lippy sticks from Colourpop in Chi Chi. I wasn't sure what color to do on my lips, honestly, for this look. I feel like a pink would have looked a little bit better, but since it's all in the warm tone family, I think it's fine. So I would say that looking up close at this, I think that both eyes look pretty much the same, and I don't really have anything to complain about on either side, to be honest. So I'm excited to see how this wears. So let's see, what time is it now? It is 11:06. If you can see that, you probably can't see that, but it's 11:07 now. So I will check in with you guys tonight when I go to take off my makeup. Who knows what time that's going to be and how I'm going to look when the day is all done, but I will of course let you know, and we can check in and see if anything has changed, which one has worn the best and all that stuff. So I will just see you guys tonight, and hopefully my eyeshadow will still look great. Alright, hi, hello, I am back. It is the end of the night. Well, it's not really the end of the night, but it is currently 8 p.m. if you can see that. So it's been a solid 9 hours now since I've been wearing this, and I feel like at this point, if it hasn't creased already, it's just not going to crease. That is just kind of how eyeshadow works on my eyes. Like, I feel like it has a lot more to do with the formula of eyeshadow that I use, whether or not it creases. So usually if an eyeshadow does crease on me, it will happen pretty early in the day. So once it's gotten past this point, I just feel like it's going to wear well for the rest of the night too, because nothing has honestly really changed. Looking up very close though, I do feel like the side with my Nars primer actually looks a little bit brighter. I don't know if that is just me, and it's a very, very tiny difference. I don't think it's really going to be visible to anyone but me if I look very close up in the mirror, but I will say that I think that I like the Nars primer a little bit more. At least the end result I like more. I don't know if I like the application as much as I like the application with the Smashbox primer. It took a little bit extra time to build up the shadows, but it was easier to blend. So far I would actually say that Nars wins the battle against my Smashbox primer today, which I haven't really been able to say that in a very long time. So I'm very excited to have a new eyeshadow primer in my collection that I really, really like. I would love to hear if any of you guys have tried this and how you like it and what else you would compare it to. I'd be very curious to see how anyone else's experience with that primer has been, because everyone has different eyes, and even though I have oily skin, I don't really feel like I have very oily eyelids. I don't know, maybe I do, but I just find that eyeshadows wear very well on me. So yeah, let me know if you tried this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to see some other eyeshadow primer reviews or wear tests that I've done. I haven't really done that many, but here's a few more. And if you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one.